In this episode, I'm going to show you a live side-by-side comparison of a 2-carat natural diamond next to a 2-carat lab-grown diamond.
Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Bonnie with By Bonnie Jewelry, where I talk about all things diamonds. Okay, today's really exciting because in this episode, we're gonna talk about, can you guess? Natural versus lab-grown diamonds. This has probably been one of the hottest, most trending topic in our industry for this past, 2-3 years. A lot of consumers are curious about it. They want to know what is a lab-grown diamond? Is it a fake diamond? How does it compare to a natural diamond? Which one should I buy? What are the pros and cons? I'm definitely going to be answering all of those questions in this video, but besides that, I'm also going to be showing you a live comparison of a 2-carat natural round diamond next to a 2-carat lab-grown diamond of the same quality. So make sure you watch this video all the way through. I try to make it as comprehensive as possible, so I hope you'll enjoy it. Let's get started. Question number 1. It's a lab-grown diamond, a fake diamond, and how is it different than a natural diamond? Okay, so first of all, natural diamonds are natural, created by nature, formed underneath the earth with intense heat and pressure over the course of billions of years. Versus lab-grown diamonds are basically a synthetic version of a natural diamond created in a lab. And you can probably make it in a matter of weeks. That's how they're different, but visually they look the same. They share the same chemical composition, carbon. So they're gonna look the same, feel the same, sparkle the same if you get the right quality and quality cuts, and make sure that everything there's no milkiness, brown, blue tinge, and we can get into that in a separate video. But yeah, so visually they're the same. Another thing to keep in mind is when people say fake diamond, I feel like they're talking about like cubic, like other diamond similants are not made of carbon, right? So CZ, like cubic zirconia, would be a good example of that, and you can purchase that easily in any costume jewelry store or Forever 21, let's say. So that's number 1. Question number 2. Should I buy a natural or a lab-grown diamond? Okay, despite the similarities of those two visually, there's still a really big difference between the two. And the reason why I say that is because, well, first of all, every buyer has a different priority, right? So what's important to me might not be important to you. For example, I'm Chinese, and my parents growing up, my parents are always like, oh, we want to buy gold and diamonds and it retains its value. So this is something that's important to them, and that's what they've taught me, but it could be a completely different scenario for you. So I would say do a lot of research before you come to a decision, but I want to present you like the facts, right? This is why I'm making this video. Of course, you should do your own research, but the first thing I want to talk about is probably price, right? Because that's a lot of people are like, oh, okay, so for a natural diamond of this size, what can I get in lab grown? Can I get a bigger one, better quality? So in general, the cost of lab grown diamonds, I would say, is about you can get it for 35% of what a natural diamond costs. So for example, in this video, I'm about to show you a live comparison of a 2-carat round GVS2 versus lab-grown GVS2, also 2-carat of the same quality. Say the natural is $20,000 and the lab-grown is like $7,000. So that's about 35% of the cost of the natural for lab grown. But there's a big thing that needs to be mentioned, which is the cost of lab grown diamonds. The prices have drastically been dropping pretty quick over the past 24 to 36 months. And I can show you data that talks about that. And I think that is the one alarming thing about lab-grown diamonds. And that's largely due to supply, right? Supply and demand. As technology advances and gets better. They're producing more and more in a shorter amount of time. And natural diamond, because they're natural, right? And it takes billions of years to form. So there's a limited supply. So when there's a limited supply, that drives the prices higher. For lab-grown diamonds, there's pretty much no cap on supply. And I feel like that's why the prices have been dropping year by year. So another thing is, value over time, right? Natural diamond historically has, gone up in prices and retained most of its value whenever you've purchased a natural diamond. And even though you may not be buying a diamond as an investment or trying to resell it for any reason, it's still like a thing to consider, like for example, if somebody purchased a natural diamond in my store, like I would offer them 100% trade-in value towards a larger upgrade. Even though if you're not looking for an upgrade, there is still value there, versus because there's no cap on the supply on lab grown, that's why currently I would say there's very little resale value for lab grown. So that's one thing to consider. Now let's go to the live comparison on hand of the lab grown versus natural diamond. Both 2 carat, both round, excellent cut, polished symmetry, G color, VS2 in clarity. Let's just see how they look different on hand, compared side by side and in different lighting.
All right, so here we have a 2 carat lab grown round brilliant cut diamond. It is excellent cut, polish, and symmetry. And this has a GCal report. So for those of you that are familiar with lab grown, GCal is one of the more popular laboratory reports for lab grown right now. GIA has just recently started doing lab grown, so you will start to see more of the GIA reports surfacing on the market. But GCal does give you a little bit more detail on the light performance and the overall cut of the diamond. And next to this lab grown, we have a 2 carat GIA certified diamond that is also excellent cut, polished, and symmetry. They're both G color and VS2 in clarity. So they both have the same color and clarity. And as far as the cut, they are the same. So it shows the same fire. Just remember, visually, it is hard to tell between the two, but you always have to make sure that whichever one you choose, you always want to go for the best cut, because that's what's going to give you that sparkle and fire in your diamond. And if you are considering a lab-grown diamond, take advantage of the fact that for less amount of money, you can not only get a higher carat, but also higher color and clarity. And another pointer from me would be to look out for those weird tinges that are in, well, both natural and lab grown. But lab grown, since it is so new, there are stones that have the brown or blue tinges, and these are currently being heavily discounted on the internet. And sometimes you may not know that because it's not listed in the certificate. I'll definitely recommend you to do more research on your own in regards to that, and just be smart and be careful when you're out there shopping, and talk to an expert. Make sure that whoever you're buying it from has a process to help you filter those out.
Okay, so now that you've seen the side-by-side comparison on hand in different lightings, you can pretty much make your own judgment on, whether or not you can tell which one is which. But don't forget, the most important thing, whether you decide to buy a natural or a lab-grown diamonds, is definitely the quality of the cut, the material, everything. So I talk about this a lot in all my other videos. Like, the reason why By Bonnie is different than most other online retailers or a lot of other jewelers is because we don't offer, say, just any diamonds. So if I get a inquiry and someone say, okay, Bonnie, I'm looking for a 2 carat diamond, this color, this clarity, let's say, I don't just say, oh, okay, here's 5 photos and 5 videos and choose one, right? That's not how it works for us. We like to curate the selection. We like to look at, say, a range of similar qualities, and we like to pick the best out of all. A lot of times what you can't see on those online 360 spinning videos is like, well, you can't really compare to sparkle because you're not comparing it to another diamond side by side, and that's true for both natural and lab grown. And I know that there are also other things that are not listed on the report, say GIA, sometimes they'll have tinges in the diamond, blue tinge, green tinge, brown tinge, that you don't see when the diamond is facing up, that a lot of times will show when you flip the diamond upside down. So there are so many things to consider when buying a diamond. So make sure whichever choice you choose, you are getting the best of that category. Another concern for a lot of people is definitely sustainability. And that goes for both natural mined diamonds and lab grown diamonds. So there's a lot to know and a lot to that you can research, and there's a lot of articles about both of them, and for me it's hard to explain all of it in this short video, so I'm gonna leave the articles and resources below so that you can read up about it. So a lot of you are probably thinking, okay, so Bonnie, what's the bottom line? Which one should I buy? What's your personal opinion? Like, which one would you buy? I get a lot of different clients that ask me that same question. I would say, okay, not one is better than the other, right? It's totally personal preference. So the only advice I have for you is definitely consider your partner, meaning like, maybe ask your partner, the person that's going to be wearing it, before you decide to purchase make a decision on this purchase. Ask them, if that's something that they care about. You definitely want to be open about it and have a discussion. I mean, it's 2021. I mean, a lot of clients are shopping for diamond rings together. So this is definitely something that you should be talking about and doing research about. And if you really, have to ask me, I would say, if you want a 2-carat diamond and you have a budget of like say 5,000 to 7,000 and you want the size, you want the look, and you want the quality, then maybe consider a lab grown as an option. But just be aware of the long-term value, right? There's no probably little or none resale value over time. And if retaining value is a priority to you, which is for me personally, it is a priority for me, then natural would be a great option. This is definitely something that you should sit and think and do your own research and come to your own conclusion about it. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed watching my video. So to recap, I don't want to say all these things that I just said in the video, so go back to watch that video from the beginning. But one important thing not to forget when you decide to buy natural or lab grown is don't forget about the quality of the setting, guys. That is, when I say setting, I'm talking about the ring setting, right? That is extremely important, okay? Even if you purchase a flawless natural or lab grown diamond, if you don't have the right setting, if it's not made correctly, poor metal, poor quality workmanship, doesn't matter which diamond you purchase because it won't shine the way it's supposed to, okay? And that's what we specialize at by Bonnie. We do top quality handmade settings in the US, and we turn even so-so diamonds into gorgeous diamonds just using the setting and the craftsmanship that we have. So make sure you watch all the other videos that I have on my channel about this, why it's important to get high quality craftsmanship rings to match your diamond, okay? Thank you so much. Don't forget to like my video, subscribe to my channel, hit the little bell so you'll be the first to know whenever I upload new videos. If you have any questions, comments about lab grown, natural, definitely leave them on the comment below. Or if you're looking for somebody to make your perfect ring, whether it be natural or lab grown, make sure you reach out to me via DM, Email, text, I'm always here, okay? I look forward to talking to you in my next video. Bye!